What's poppin', y'all? This is funny because in a video just the other day that I recorded, I don't know if it will have come out by the time I drop this. The order, it really depends since it's not time intensive. But I was talking about how Travis Scott has had a lot of moments in history where people have felt they've been screwed over by him. And then we get a new one. And this was Kacy Hill. So I'm going to play you guys the first clip. And then I'm going to play you guys... We're going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to play you guys the second clip. I'm going to give you context of everything in the story and why I think Travis Scott might be in the clear on this one.
It has been 10 years since that song, and I quite literally wake up every day and look outside to see how my sprouts have grown and like bake scones and write guitar songs. So I think I'm pretty far away from that at this point. Does he owe me a vocal swap? Sure. That will never happen. And I don't really want it to at this point, at this juncture either. So yeah, don't do vocal swap deals in lieu of fees. But yeah, that ship has sailed. And I think we can let it go. It's safe to let it go now.
So in that first clip, you guys hear somebody... or you hear her response to somebody asking her, like, hey, when's Travis Part 2? So the reference for those that may not know, this is Kacy Hill. She was signed to Good Music. She released one EP on Good Music in 2015, and it was called the Blue EP, B-L-O-O, like the character from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And she was the vocals on the song 90210 by Travis Scott. One of the most beloved Travis Scott songs of all time. One of the most beloved songs on that album, even though it didn't really, I don't think it charted as high as a couple of other songs. But people really, really love that album cut, that are fans of Travis Scott, especially that are fans of Rodeo. And this was a while back, so people are probably asking, like, yo, what happened? Like, you guys worked so well together here. How come we're not seeing you on another track with Travis Scott? So she gives her perspective, and she's like, yeah, well, he owes me a vocal swap. That's what she says. And she doesn't lead with that. She leads with this. It's kind of odd how she starts out the reply, talking about like her daisies or whatever she said, her sprouts, and it makes sense. The way that she talks, I'm like, okay, this is quite unsurprising. But in this situation, how is she going to get the vocals from Travis Scott? Has she really gone after Travis Scott and asked for them? And would it even make sense? Like, it's been 10 years. She was, 20 years old when that happened? Maybe 21. She's like 30 or 31 right now. Her career has nothing to do with Travis Scott or with hip-hop anymore. And this is why I want to get into the second part of her reply before we get into the history. And she was an unfortunate victim of just label issues, which a bunch of people were going through at Good Music around the same time. So I'm going to play you guys the second clip.
I feel like you're messing up my algorithm. So let the girlies find me. And I think maybe take these comments elsewhere. Maybe write them in your journal. I think that might be a more productive way of dealing with this than leaving comments for me. So, okay.
Here is where she kind of ruins the entire thing, at least for me, and I think a couple of other people that saw this on my IG, because it's somebody comments this. They probably are fans. They are most likely fans of you because of the collaboration you did with Travis Scott. Because the type of music that Kacy Hill makes, if you're primarily a hip hop rap fan, you're very unlikely to come across it, especially in the modern age where algorithms keep you in this bubble where, like, hey, if you like electronic music, it's very unlikely you're going to see, like, for example, country music. The only time I will ever see country music is if I go to the Hot 100 Billboard charts and start scrolling. I'm like, okay, that's country. Okay, that's reggaeton. Okay, that's Latin trap or whatever. I don't see these songs anywhere else. They don't show up on my feed. They don't show up on my autoplay on Spotify or Apple Music. I mostly use Apple Music, and I'm really not autoplaying like that either. So I'm just stuck in this bubble. We're like, yo, this Jelly Roll dude's huge. And I'm like, really? Well, I know that he's huge, but I'm just thinking I can't name a single song by him, but I know he's famous. So it's unlikely that a Travis Scott fan would have just found her out in the wild and then be like, hey, you're that girl on Travis Scott's album in 2015. So, but in her regard, yeah, so she's like, oh, number one, she didn't have to answer the question. You probably get this comment all the time. You didn't have to answer it. And when she said you're ruining my algorithm, what she's saying, and we got to give her credit here, is that this video, this TikTok, is going to spread to a lot of people that are interested in Travis Scott, that are interested in hip hop, and the fan base that she's been able to build after she got out of Good Music. Like she said, it's for the girlies. Like it's mostly girls, most likely, from what she's saying, and they're really not into hip hop like that, or if they are, they're not into it like that. So it will circulate this video and her account to people within hip hop that are most likely not going to become fans of her. It's a very, 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 very small percentage that will cross over, especially guys. And I get where she's coming from that perspective, but when she like kind of gives this like, not even sass, I would say this, is the word rude? There's a word for it. Basically like, oh yeah, you should have wrote about this in your diary. Like what? The guy wants an answer. And it's an answer that many people haven't gotten. Now that they've gotten it, they probably won't ask about it again unless they haven't seen the clip, which I can understand where it gets annoying. But for Kacy Hill, I understand her frustration with the situation, and I don't think she's complaining as much as she could have, because she got signed. Originally, she was a model, and then she became a backup dancer for Ye's Yeezus tour. So she was a backup dancer, and then she had a song that somebody showed Ye while she was on tour, and he signed her right away. And this was in the era where Good Music was signing a lot of people. Like she got signed in the same era as Designer, and somebody else. I think Travis Scott got signed a couple of years before that, like 2013-ish. Sheck West came after her, but this wasn't. I think 070 Shake got signed at the same time as her. So we started to see people on Good Music. I was like, these people, I don't know if they gel all the way together, but Kacy Hill was definitely the one that was so far out from everybody else. And Kacy Hill, she's an example of potentially somebody that maybe Ye just wanted to get a sample off of or use a part of her song, because he said he signed Designer just so they could get Panda on, it wasn't Freestyle 4, it was Father Stretch My Hands. That's really why they signed Designer. And Designer is somebody that also had label issues with Good Music. But Kacy Hill, people actually enjoyed her Blue EP. I was somebody that really enjoyed it, even though it was so different from everyone else on Good Music. It wasn't hip hop, it wasn't rap, but she got brought into this ecosystem, and she didn't drop for a while after that. Like I think she dropped a project Like a Woman in 2017. I don't think I listened to that, but that was 2 years after her first EP. So just think about how the hype had really, really died down at that point. October 9, 2015 is when the Blue EP came out. June 30th, 2017 is when her second project came out, Like a Woman. And in this time frame, it's not like we're seeing her on features with people from Good Music very often. Like she also, I think she did background vocals for Okay Alright. So we didn't really see much of her. She was on Passion, Pain, and Demon Slayin' by Kid Cudi on Releaser, that song. But other than that, even within hip hop, we didn't really see her. But the biggest gap, and I think this is where a lot of frustration came, was from 2017 to 2020, when she didn't release a project for 3 years. And her next project was Is It Selfish If We Talk About Me Again in 2020, and it was released independently. And she told this whole story of how she struggled to get out of Ye's label. So I'm going to play you guys this clip. It's a little bit long, but it gives the full story. And it gives us more information, too, on how Kanye West operates, which we always love to learn more about.
Kanye West, we've all heard of him, I think. And anyway, so I was signed to him. I was signed to Good Music. It was so crazy. So Def Jam, basically paid to, shoot all the album cover for my second album, whatever. And then they were like, actually, we don't know if we want you still. And I was like, that's crazy because I don't want to be here either. And then they were like, we actually don't want to pay for that. But I had already shot it, and I was like, okay, crazy. And I was like, so do you want me or do you not? What are we doing here? It was like I was literally in a situationship with Def Jam Records, where I was like, what are we? And anyway, and they were like, we actually can't keep you or let you go. The only person that can keep you or let you go for your next record is Kanye West himself. And I was like, no problem. However, at that time, he decided he didn't want to use email, and he also didn't have an assistant. So I was like, that is so crazy. And so for 6 months of my life, and this is a true story, I'm not exaggerating anything, it's crazier than I could even tell it. For 6 months of my life, I went to Sunday service. Do you remember Sunday service when he was doing that? I went to Sunday service every weekend of my life for 6 months or something. And it was like going to someone's wedding with a contract in your hand, where I'd go and I'd be like, that was really beautiful, sir. And then I'd be like, can we talk? And every time he was like, okay. And I'd be like, okay. And finally he was like, okay, come to rehearsal on Friday. I was like, sick. And then I was like, oh, where the fuck is rehearsal? Like, I didn't know where and when rehearsal was anyway, so I ended up going to this office in Calabasas. And he was like, why are you here? And I was like, I need to get out of this deal. And he was like, okay, like, what do I need to do? And I was like, you can text literally anyone and say that I'm done. And so he did, and he texted someone and said I was done, and I was done. And then afterwards, I like played him my second record, and he was like, this is cool, could you make it a gospel song? And I was like, sure, like, whatever you want.
So there you have it. You got to think, your career is in somebody else's hands. Def Jam, because she was signed, Def Jam was the distributor for Good Music. So everybody was signed through Def Jam. And if you guys remember, when she was trying to get off the label, when Sunday Service was going on, this was the same era when Ye was like, yo, I'm giving away everybody's masters back from Good Music. I don't know if that ever happened. But he was saying he was down to release whoever didn't want to be on Good Music. And Good Music got disbanded soon after because Pusha T, who was president, he left. They just shut the operation down. Whoever wasn't on there, like 070 Shake, she's not on Good Music. Who else? Nobody's on Good Music anymore. Designer's independent. He dropped him. But it was about getting into contact with Ye. And this is the most Ye thing ever, where it's like, oh yeah, I wasn't even able to get in contact with him, but Def Jam is telling me that I need to go get him to sign off on me leaving the label. And she was able to get into contact with him eventually. And I think it's dope that Ye just dropped her, which goes to show that I think Ye is an example of somebody who may not be the best to lead a record label because he's so focused on his own projects and careers. And there was a good era when Pusha T was running things, or that 2018 era, that Good Music June, when Tiana Taylor dropped, Pusha T dropped, Ye dropped, and Kids See Ghosts dropped. Like, when Ye is on it, then it's miraculous. And even like Good Fridays in the early 2010s, after I think it was late to that, it was early 2010s, 2010, 2011, that era. But somebody like Ye, he just can't run a label. Pusha T did a good job for a while, but Good Music is, especially in its early days, we came to know it as a brand of like, hey, this is a collective. So for somebody like Kacy Hill or 070 Shake or Designer that perhaps needed more support, there's really not even like a Good Music building that they were saying. And then they have to go to Def Jam, and Def Jam is telling them like, hey, we're just a distributor partner here. You've got to talk to whoever signed you so we can get you out of your deal, and you can't drop music until that point. And years are going by, and you're a new artist, and you're not even an artist that has like a smash hit song. Like, her biggest song is the song that she has with Travis Scott. Even to date, she has under 250,000 monthly listeners, which is less than a lot of underground artists within hip hop. So I like the fact that she didn't react too bitterly about the situation. A bunch of people have said negative things about Travis Scott, but I think she understood how viral it would go and how negative it would be for her if she just said like, yeah, I got screwed over. Travis Scott doesn't want to give me vocals. This and that. And I genuinely think she doesn't want Travis Scott vocals. Like, what is she going to do with them? So this is an unfortunate situation all around for that era of her career, but it seems like she's doing fine now and she's happy and content with what she's got going on. But it just goes to show a lot of this game is luck. And it's similar to athletes in the sense that maybe it's not the luck aspect is making sure, for example, if you're an athlete like Derrick Rose, right? That was bad luck. You get injured, your career is over. Not Derrick Rose's career wasn't over, but for some people it is over right then and there. For some people, they can never recover from the injury. And for some artists, they get signed to a bad deal or they get stuck in a deal and they can't drop. They get screwed. Rich Homie Quan was a victim of this. The Migos were almost a victim of this, but they capitalized well in that they had, not the DJ, the producer. It's not Mustard. Murda Beats. I believe it was in his No Jumper interview where he tells everybody, yeah, Migos used to send me tracks all the time and tell me to leak them because they couldn't release any music and they wanted to make sure they were still hot in the streets, people were listening to them, and they could keep doing shows and get their money that way. So some artists, they get signed to the wrong label, they get screwed over, kind of like Lupe Fiasco, who thought he was signing to Atlantic where Jay-Z was going to become president or an executive, and Jay-Z ends up going to Def Jam. So now he's in a building that he didn't really want to be in for the first place. And then some rappers get dropped, some get stuck in deals. A lot of this game, especially longevity wise and momentum carrying, right time, right place, and not getting unlucky. So you might get lucky enough to blow up, but you got to make sure you don't get unlucky enough after that. So many things have to line up perfectly for a career to play out in the way that, let's say, a Travis Scott's did, or any number of other successful artists that we know of. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Go to helloyassine.com. Thank you for watching. Peace.